Hello, everybody. This is Gerald Celente, and it's Wednesday, March 20th, 2024. And we have with us a man of men, someone that speaks about, loves, cares, understands what was called the Bill of Rights in the Constitution has been robbed from us. Former Supreme Court Judge Andrew Napolitano. Thanks for being here today, Judge. And it seems like every week, we're talking about the loss of freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech.
Like every week. And Gerald, it's a pleasure to be with you, my dear friend, no matter what we're discussing. It seems like every week there's more and more evidence that the Bill of Rights is a bill of government privileges, whereby the government will turn on the spigot of liberty and turn off the spigot of liberty when it wants to. And it's now in its favorite phase, which is turning off the spigot of liberty. And in this case, it's the freedom of speech.
Again, if you don't believe what the government says, then you'll believe in misinformation. Judge, you have an article here. Matter of fact, this was going to be the cover of our Trends Journal, but we didn't use it this week because of what had happened to me. And it was about TikTok. And you have an article here about TikTok. And you said, can Congress ban TikTok? You begin by saying, you make this quote, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech, First Amendment of the Constitution. When James Madison set about to draft the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution, he was articulating what lawyers and philosophers and judges call, quote, negative rights. A positive right grants a privilege, like a driver's license. A negative right restrains the government from interfering with pre-existing right. In order to emphasize his view that the freedom of speech pre-existed the government, Madison insisted that the word "the" precede freedom of speech in the First Amendment. If the freedom of speech preceded the government, where did it come from?
I loved asking that to law students when I was teaching constitutional law, and some would say a consensus of the community, and some would say tradition, which is actually what's taught in many law schools, because they are hard left and they reject the idea that our rights come from our humanity. You don't have to believe in God the Father to accept this. You can recognize that human beings are the highest rational beings on the planet, and we, by our exercise of reason, can discern right from wrong and good from evil. In order to exercise that reason, we have to exercise our free will, and in order to exercise our free will, we have to have the freedom to think as we wish, to say what we think, to read what we want, to publish what we say. It is the third of those that the government is attacking, read what we want, by preventing us from reading and communicating with TikTok. I don't use TikTok. I'm going to guess you don't use it. It's mainly used by young people. But this is the government doing the bidding of big tech that wants TikTok gone as a competitor, or the government doing the bidding of certain ideological groups that are afraid of the freedom of ideas articulated on TikTok, like the Israeli government is slaughtering Palestinians and committing genocide, which is why major Jewish lobbying groups want TikTok out of the way.
What you're saying, it's mind-boggling, in the sense that have we lost our freedom right in front of everybody's eyes? And all you have to go back to, how blatant it was with the COVID war. If you don't believe what little clowns are saying, health experts that are little government whores, little bureaucrats, then you have no right to think for yourself. If you don't get that jab, no job. If you're against the vaccination, you believe in misinformation. You don't believe in the drug dealers that morons and imbeciles call Big Pharma. How dare you not believe the drug dealers? They only made how many hundreds of billions of dollars from this thing? Oh, by the way, that we funded to make happen?
You know, it's even worse than that, Gerald. Earlier this week in the Supreme Court, where the issue of whether the government can use a carrot or a stick to influence what big tech is saying, the government actually said to the court, it is necessary for the government to enter the marketplace of ideas in order to stamp out misinformation. Stated differently, the government wants to enter the marketplace of ideas in order to crush those ideas it hates and fears, those ideas which contradict its own orthodoxy. The whole purpose of the First Amendment, the very reason we have a First Amendment, is so that the government won't and can't do that. And here they are telling the court they should be able to do it.
And you use the word the government. A bunch of little freaky clowns in front of everybody's eyes to see. The government. Who, little Lindsey Graham, Chucky Schumer, Mitch McConnell, Biden? Look at the freak show. The government. A bunch of clowns telling us what to do, what to think, and what to believe.
Right.
The government. That's a cover-up. It's a clown show. You know, the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, remember when we were kids? It went out of business. You don't have to pay to see the freaks anymore. All you got to do is turn on the TV.
Turn on C-SPAN to see the freak show.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, you have to have a sense of humor in order to get through the day, but there's nothing humorous about the government suppressing speech or attempting to do indirectly what it can't do directly. Indirectly, it is getting the bulletin boards on which we post our ideas, big tech, to advance the speech it likes and suppress the speech it hates, because it can't do it directly. And I'm sorry to tell you, it seems like the court's going to go along with this. Chief Justice Roberts and Justice Kavanaugh gave every indication that they're going to go along with the three liberal members of the court and permit the government to get away with this. This actually started in the Trump administration. I don't know if he personally knew about it, but it's got carried away in the Biden administration. And emails demonstrate this. Emails between the Department of Homeland Security and various general counsels at big tech demanding that certain information be taken down, or demanding that certain information be pushed to the top via their algorithms. This is very, very, very dangerous. If this becomes, if the court allows this to happen, it'll be two major blows to the freedom of speech. One, allowing the government to do indirectly what it can't do directly, and two, taking out of the marketplace of ideas a venue that's used by 150 million people, half the country, mainly young people, because the government doesn't like its ideas. What doesn't the government like about its ideas? Well, the government says TikTok spies on you. Oh, really? Who are the biggest spies in the United States of America? Who captures every keystroke on every mobile device and every desktop? The federal government itself. Who told the Supreme Court they have to be able to influence the marketplace of ideas in order to prevent disinformation? The federal government itself. The government is far worse, far more effective, far more destructive of free speech than the owners of TikTok could possibly ever hope to be.
You know, you're right here. In his dystopian novel, 1984, George Orwell analyzed the totalitarian mind and recognized the need that totalitarians have for fear and hatred. They know that when folks are afraid, they will bargain away the reality of liberty for the illusion of safety. Without fear and hatred, totalitarians have fewer tools for control over the population. This is so important. It is so true that when the government sells fear, the people follow, and you need no other proof than a little boy of nothing, a little daddy's boy born on third base, thought he hit a home run, a little jerk, George W. Bush, selling the fear after 9/11. We got to stop them. We got to go invade Afghanistan. We got to get Osama bin Laden dead or alive. 88% of the people swallowed the crap spewing out of the mouth of that little jerk. Fear. Fear gets the people like that, Judge. You nailed it perfectly when you're writing here. And by the way, everybody, what the judge is doing with his podcast, Judging Freedom, there's nothing like it. I told all our writers and staff yesterday to watch the one you just did with Sachs, about what's going on in Israel. And this is a Jewish guy, by the way, Sachs.
Jeffrey Sachs, professor at Columbia University, called the government of Israel a criminal gang, and he's 100% correct. But his description of the fanaticism is breathtaking and terrifying. And Joe Biden, no matter what he says about Netanyahu, no matter what he says about Chuck Schumer, and Chuck Schumer, and what he says, I'll pay attention to what they do. They are still sending 3 cargo planes a week of ammunition and other destructive devices to Israel. The United States is funding genocide.
Yep.
And
our money.
Genocide Joe has authorized all this. He can have all the pissing contests he wants with Bibi Netanyahu. He's not going to pull back from authorizing all the slaughter.
Nope. No, he totally supports it. He calls himself a Zionist. Hey, you know what they say? Moses came down with 10 commandments. What was one of the ones? Thou shalt not kill.
Yes.
Well, maybe he dropped that one. Maybe he only came down with 9. You know, again, the genocide Joe is perfectly clear. And this Schumer thing, as we wrote in the Trends Journal, total meant nothing. It's just making it pretend that the United States is against this. And as you point out, we keep sending weapons to kill and to slaughter these people in front of everybody's eyes. Genocide by the definition, if anybody reads the definition of genocide. And there again, that little clown boy Sullivan, look at these little jerks of the government, said it would be a mistake if Netanyahu attacks Rafah. A mistake? How about saying, how dare you do this? Oh, no, it would be a mistake.
So the Israeli military forced the Palestinians who survived out of northern Gaza into Rafah.
Yep.
They're now there living cheek by jowl. According to Professor Sachs, a few 100,000 of them are in stage 5 starvation. That's a few days from death, stage 5, because the Israelis have destroyed hospitals, destroyed schools, destroyed infrastructure, destroyed water, won't allow food and won't allow medicine in. And now they're going to attack this tightly cheek by jowled area because they're killers, because they claim they're looking for killers among them, and they're willing to slaughter innocents in order to do so. They claim some ancient biblical right to slaughter innocents.
Yep. Yeah, we wrote about this guy saying this rabbi, one after another. It's in your Trends Journal. And also in the Trends Journal this week, we said what a fraud it was with the facts of Schumer. Because you look at Schumer's quotes in supporting Israel. Oh, I mean, this is a lot of crap. Is he, by the way, is he dual citizenship?
I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if he is, because a number of them are. And by the way, what you said about
the chief negotiator for the United States, the chief mediator for the United States, Amos Hochstein, was born in Israel and fought for the IDF, came here and got American citizenship. So he is a dual citizen. Gee, I wonder what side he's on when he mediates these negotiations between Hamas and Qatar and Egypt and Israel.
Yeah. Amos. How about Amos and Andy? What you mentioned over here about TikTok, this is important, and most people don't know this. We've written this in detail in this week's Trends Journal about TikTok that no one's talking about. And you can't call me an anti-Semite when I say this, because it comes from the Times of Israel. All you little freaks out there that hate the truth. And by the way, the people running Israel are not Semites. The Eastern European Khazars, Ashkenazi Jews. Semites are Palestinians from the Mesopotamia region. But going on, major U.S. Jewish group backs bipartisan bill that could see TikTok banned. Times of Israel. The Jewish Federation of North America, representing hundreds of organized Jewish communities, said its support for the bill is rooted in concerns about anti-Semitism on the platform. Anti-Semitism is condemning genocide. That's anti-Semitism today. The Jewish Federation and the Anti-Defamation League have accused TikTok of allowing anti-Semitism and anti-Israeli sentiment to run rampant. So if you condemn Israel's open slaughter, destruction of schools, universities, hospitals, mosques, homes, that is anti-Semitism.
So to these people, Jeffrey Sachs, born, raised, and practicing Upper West Side Manhattan Jewish professor at Columbia University, is an anti-Semite because he has the temerity to challenge this slaughter from a moral and a legal perspective, according to these people.
Quote, the single most important issue to our Jewish community today is a dramatic rise in anti-Semitism, end quote, JFNA wrote in the official letter to Congress. Our community understands that social media is a major driver of the drive in anti-Semitism and that TikTok is the worst offender by far, end quote.
So stated differently, they want the government to suppress speech because of its content, something the First Amendment was written absolutely to prohibit.
Would you say that again, what you just said?
This group of Israeli lobbyists wants the federal government to suppress speech because of its content, something that the First Amendment was written expressly to prohibit the government from doing, without exception.
Again, everybody go to Judging Freedom. You got to go to this site with the people he has on, the things that they're saying, real men and women, not the little cowards that are on the mainstream media, people that believe in what America used to be and what our founding fathers fought for, that we've lost right in front of our eyes. And Judge, I have to tell you, I've been forecasting trends for 44 years. As you well know, I have best-selling books, Trends 2000, Trend Tracking. World War III, I said, began 2 days before the Russian invasion of Ukraine. From COVID war to Ukraine war to World War. World War III has begun. You're seeing what's going on now. The French are admitting that they're sending troops into Ukraine. So officially, they're at war with Russia. World War III has begun. The people have no idea how this thing is escalating. If we don't have peace, it's going to be hell on earth.
The French don't even realize that the Russians could take out Paris like that. Don't provoke them. Don't use French troops and French artillery to attack Russians. This has nothing to do with French national security, but Macron is in another world.
Again, they remember what I say, when all else fails, they take you to war.
Yes.
Macron's ratings are in the toilet. Netanyahu's ratings are in the toilet. Biden is in the toilet. Because all he spews out is crap. And again, it's all failing. When all else fails, they take you to war. People better unite for peace. You know, this Easter time is coming. So for all the Christians and the people that believe, you know, I'm a warrior for the Prince of Peace. So please do what you can do and help us and support Occupy Peace. Judge, thanks so much for all that you do. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Gerald. All the best. God bless you, my friend.